What's up, guys? D'Lo here on the Stuff of Legend. I just got some news a few days back, but I didn't get a chance to get on and record. There's been a lot going on at work and stuff, and it's been a very busy week. Good stuff, but nonetheless busy. So I finally got a chance to come go live with you guys here, and I just wanted to let you guys know what's going on. So DC Comics, right? So Warner Brothers and DC, they have had some struggles of late with their production, direction, the writing for the movies, and it's been kind of chaotic. And for those of us who are fans, it's been a little bit tough. You know what I mean? It's been really tough because we love the characters, we love a lot of the stories that have been going on in the comics, and this is a lot of it is Geoff Johns writing. A lot of it is Geoff Johns putting his creative influence, his passion. He lives and breathes DC Comics, and that's what he's done for the longest time. But as of recently, he's been in an executive position, right? And so there's a number of executives there for DC and also for Warner Brothers that have been influential in making this film. The problem is, and when I say this film, I mean all the DC films. Wonder Woman, Batman versus Superman's, going all the way back to Man of Steel, and all the recent stuff, Suicide Squad, all that. This being said, there's been some shakeups. Walter Hamada has taken over as the head of Warner Brothers, and some of these executives, I mean, they're getting shakeup from the top down. So like there's a new head, and then all the executives are being either, well, we believe cut. They're stepping down, but either cut or shifted around into new positioning for the betterment of the film franchise. And so this, I think, is really good news, and I'm going to get into why. So let me see. We have DC Entertainment President Diane Nelson exiting the company just last week. And so she had stepped down, but in addition to this, we just got word not too long ago that Geoff Johns stepped down from an executive position as well. This is super interesting because Geoff Johns he lives and breathes DC. He's partly responsible for what's going on in the CW verse. He's partly responsible for, actually largely responsible for a lot of the stuff that's happened in the DC movies, except for they've been trying to have multiple heads over what's going on. There's no one direction, no one vision, no one goal for the DCEU. And this has been a problem for a very long time. Geoff Johns steps down this last week from the executive position to get back to a production and writing position. So DC has allowed him to step into and create a new production company that's going to work with, I don't think it's going to be exclusively with, but primarily with DC and Warner Brothers, so that Geoff Johns can be in charge of that. And he's going to head a lot of the DC films moving forward, starting with the Green Lantern Corps movie. This is really big news because Geoff Johns was heavily influential in writing a lot of the recent Green Lantern Corps movies. And that's his passion. That's what he loves the most, is the Green Lantern and also DC Comics. He lives and breathes for this stuff. And let me just say that he was also responsible for the Rebirth movement in the DC Comics, which has been the most successful comic book franchise reboot ever. It's huge and widely accepted by the fans. People love the Rebirth. There's, obviously people have issues, one here, there, here, a little bit here, a little bit there. You're always going to have people who are hardcore originalists and want things to go back to the way that they were, but generally those people either buy it and complain, or they don't buy it at all and don't have anything to say because it's just they don't care. But people that have bought and read the books like I have, they love it. All my buddies who have bought the Rebirth love the Rebirth. People had problems with New 52, but when Rebirth came out, Geoff Johns headed that. He took hours out of his day for every single character in the DC Comics universe, so that they could focus in on what are the core aspects of these characters. What is it that's important about these characters that fans love and adore? What is it that we know about them? Who are they in relation with? What relationships do we need to build inside their universe? Who are their primary villains? What story arcs should we engage in with these characters? What are the team ups that could happen? He took the time to really develop these characters for the comic books. And that's the kind of person that Geoff Johns is. He is like a Kevin Feige. He lives and breathes like Kevin breathes Marvel. Geoff Johns is that for DC. Now, I think him stepping out of the executive position is huge, and it's so important. I think that's going to be super beneficial for the DCEU because he's not going to be in board meetings and greenlighting other people's stories and other people's decisions. His creative genius and his love and affection and knowledge of the DC characters, their history, their significance in the world that they're in, that entire bit of it, that's him. He's the guy. He's the most important significant figure in modern DC comics today. And I think that having him as a writer, for one, and having him as a producer is going to be huge. We're going to see some huge change for DC Comics. This is going to be massive, and I can't wait. I'm really excited that he's going to be the guy helming not only the Green Lantern project, which is super close to his heart. That's his favorite comic for DC, is the Green Lantern and the Green Lantern stories, and he wrote a lot of them. A lot of the recent stuff. You can look and you can find Geoff Johns DC Comics. You'll find a lot of results on that if you Google that. And then, oh man, I'm so excited. Him taking over the Green Lantern Corps movie gives me a lot of hope for that franchise. And then also for the DCEU, as we know that he's going to be stepping in as one of the main producers for a lot of the upcoming DC films and writers, and he's going to have influence and creative influence over the direction of the DCEU moving forward. And I think that Walter Hamada is the one who made that call, because he saw that Geoff Johns is the person that, of all the executives, had the most heart for the comics. He had the most hands-on experience with the comics and with the characters themselves. He's not just some like money hound out to make a buck, which he is. Everyone is. We gotta eat. You gotta feed your family. All that stuff. That's fine. But he loves the comics. That's the difference. And he's not just out there trying to make Warner Brothers some money. He's trying to make good DC Comics stories. And that's going to be huge. I am super excited for this. But you guys, please let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about Geoff Johns taking over as a producer, a primary producer for DC ongoing DCEU, and also as a writer. If you guys have read Rebirth, if you guys have read any of his stories, let me know down in the comments what you think about all that, because that's just, I mean, I love his stories. I love everything he's written, everything that I've read about him and what the stories that he's put out. I've always enjoyed those stories, and I'm really excited for him to get his hands deep into that, be on the set. This is something that he said. Let me read you guys a quote, all right? So here's a quote. Geoff Johns is clearly, here, this is from Screen Rant, so you guys know. Geoff Johns is clearly delighted to be able to devote himself to creating new content once again. And here's the quote. Geoff Johns says, "I took on a role at DCE executive because I love the characters and this universe more than anything," he explained. "But I want to spend my days writing and on set, and I'm thrilled to get back to a more hands-on creative role. He'll no doubt," and then it goes on here to say, "he'll no doubt be even more thrilled that his next project is connected with the Green Lanterns characters that he's always loved." And it's so true. He is living and breathing DC round the clock. If you follow him, if you follow his Instagram, if you follow any like interviews with him, it's DC, 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 DC. And it's not just because it's his job. It's his life. It is what he does. And so I'm pumped. I'm super pumped. This, I think, is going to be the revitalization that DC has needed for a long time. It's not really about the actors. The actors that they've chosen are great actors. For the most part, almost all of them are talented, very, very talented actors. And the characters, nonetheless, are great characters. The problem has been production, the problem has been direction or lack thereof, and the problem has been writing. And this is where Geoff Johns is going to shine, and I'm super excited. So you guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. Again, like, share, subscribe. If you want to help me out, make sure to hit the notification button down below next to the subscribe button to be notified right away when I upload my next video or when I go live next time. So I appreciate you guys checking in and sharing all this. You know, I'm right here on The Stuff of Legend.